Alright, what's up everybody? We are back with a new and updated Omega Strikers tier list for the newest patch 2.2. If you guys do not know, this patch actually went live about a week ago now, so everybody's been playing on the new patch. There were some major balance changes and some other stuff added to the game, mainly quality of life changes and features for the game. So the last time I actually did a tier list, I think, was the 2.2 or a 2.0 patch. It was the launch patch of the game. Since then, we actually got two new strikers, being Vice and Octavia, which I did not talk about last time because they were not in the game. So got a bunch of other changes. We also got a bunch of other new awakenings added to the game. So gonna be pretty interesting to discuss a lot. And I've also got way better at the game since the last tier list, which was like 3 months ago already. So apart from that, if you guys like these videos, leave a like, subscribe, share the video. A bunch more Omega Strikers stuff on the way. I also stream Omega Strikers, and we got a Road to Rank series going right now as well. Trying to grind our way to gold from being a brand new player all the way up until there. So that interests you guys, subscribe so you do not miss it. Apart from that, I'm going to throw the list on screen for you guys right now. I'm actually going to break this video into 2 parts because I think just ranking everything based off of like 2 roles combined is kind of weird. And so pretty much what I'm going to do now is I'm actually starting, for at least for this list and probably going forward, I'm actually going to rank the strikers based off of how they play as a forward, and then an entire other like ranking based off of how they play goalies. So that's kind of what we're going to do going forward, because I think that's a little bit more accurate than just kind of trying to rank them as like an overall what they do combined. So apart from that, let's get right into this. S tier is the stuff you're going to want to be picking or banning every single game in the majority of your ranks. Keep in mind, this is also going to be mainly for solo queue and for your lower to mid tier ranks, not for pro play, top 500, whatever, top 100, that type of thing. It's going to be for your lower to mid tier ranks, for your average players list. Not in a stack, just solo queuing. A+ is above average, A tier is average, B is more situational, C is only good on like one specific map or with the team comp that can make them work, and then D tier is like strikers that you're better off just not playing at all. That's like the only thing you can play. And I wouldn't say there's an F tier right now, but that's why I did not include it, because I don't think there's like a single striker in the entire game that I would say is like unplayable, which is a good thing balance wise. Apart from that, let's get right into this. Ami's S tier, really good. She's incredibly good. She has everything you want out of a forward. That is what she has right now. She has a really good, annoying special that's able to like kind of bully the goal and lock down certain areas of the map. Just overall really good. Or you can even use it on defense sometimes to like keep the core away from your own goal if you're waiting for respawns or that type of thing. Really good damage. Like she has everything you really want. She has a teleport that does damage, like everything. She has a line, like a projectile that also hits the core and does incredible damage. Like she has everything you really want right now out of a forward, and she's also pretty easy to play. So nothing with her has really changed since the last patch. I think if anything, people just gotten better playing her. Asher got a bit of balance changes. I think as a forward, she's about an A tier. She's a little bit more map dependent and team dependent, because if you don't have a team that can follow up with you trying to be aggressive, she kind of falls down a little bit and you're better off just kind of playing some other stuff some of the time. But I think she is average right now. They also reworked her ult since the last tier list I did, and a few other things which haven't really been like crazy good for her, but at the same time she hasn't really changed from it. So I don't know if they were really good balance changes or if they were just meant to kind of keep her in line and from being really too oppressive or annoying. So Atlas is a forward. I'm going to put it a C tier. I don't think he's that good. I think the main problem with him is his abilities are just on too long of a cooldown, and he just moves way too slow. And you got to have a really good awakening build to actually make him work. And there's just way better things to actually play right now as a forward. If you want like an aggressive forward or things that kind of do the similar thing that he does. Drakkar, I'm going to put it A tier. As a forward, I think he's like a definition of average. Like, there's nothing crazy about him at all. The stealth is good. You can catch some stuff off guard, and you can make some crazy plays off it and that type of thing. He has a pretty spammable primaries and secondaries, but like Nothing crazy about him at all. I don't think nothing with Drakkar has really changed since last patch. Or the last time I did the tier list. Dubu as a forward, I mean, he can be good. Like, I'm going to say as a forward, I think he's A tier. I don't think it's as good as a goalie because I think Dubu overall as a striker, I think his entire identity is just mainly to be a goalie. But you can play him as a forward if you're really good with him, and I've seen him work. He can be really annoying, it's just depending on what awakenings you're picking as well. Era as a forward, A+ tier. I think in your lower to mid tier games, she doesn't get as much value as your higher tier games. There's probably going to be like some people that are like way higher tiers ranked saying like, oh, like Era's an S tier, whatever, blah, 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 she's so good. But like, I think in your just solo queuing in your lower to mid tier games, you don't get really as much value out of her just because you're relying on solo queue random players on your team to try to take advantage of your abilities, your speed boost, and your that type of thing, like your ult, being able to make plays off your ult and that type of thing, and with your enhance or whatever, being able to shrink people or give people extra size for like 3 seconds. Like if it was like a pre-made like 3 stack, or if you have a really good team that actually takes advantage of your abilities, then S tier. But like overall, just with solo queuing in your lower to mid tier games, I think A+ tier is where she belongs. Estelle, I think, is A tier. I think the problem with Estelle right now is that there's an entire other striker in the game that kind of just does her job better as a forward, being Vice. And I don't think there's really a reason to play Estelle unless you're crazy good at her or you like playing Estelle more than Vice right now. I think she just kind of gets outshadowed. Juliet is S tier. She is one of the most aggressive, like, spam legends in the entire game. The only issue with Juliet is her early game's kind of bad, but once you get like 1 or 2 awakenings online and like around halfway through the game, that's when you start destroying people. She is a kind of a striker that needs to get a build online first, and being able to build some stuff she likes to actually do like a bunch of work. Really annoying, really aggressive, like as a bully, just bullying the enemy goalie or like bullying like 1 or 2 of the enemy front like forwards and pretty much preventing them from doing their job because you're honestly just going after them. So I do think she's also ban worthy sometimes, but at the same time there's a lot of other stuff I think that is ban worthy right now. Even IME you're seeing banned once in a while, but like there's a lot of stuff that you can ban right now as well that I think is more annoying. It just comes down to what you think is more annoying and what you do not want to play against, and I guess what map ever you're playing on at the current time. But really good ban. If you want to ban her, I think she is 100% worth a ban. I don't know what they would do with her to balance her, but she is incredibly annoying and really just way too good. Way too good. Juno as well, going to S tier. You're seeing Juno banned almost like every game. Especially in your lower to mid tiers, what I've been finding with ranked, I think Juno has like a 90% ban rate. At least I'm pretty sure, like in the majority of my games, she's getting banned on by one team. And if she does get through, she's always picked. She's just way too easy to play, and she does her job way too well. That is the problem. She has abilities that do her job, and she's able to just position around her own abilities. And you don't really need a team to play off you. You can kind of just use your abilities to play off your abilities, which is credible for your lower to mid tier and like solo queue games. Kai, as a forward, I think he's A tier. Like, there's nothing really crazy about him. I think he's way better as a goalie, if I'm being 100% real with you guys. But as a forward, you can play him. Like I said, he's kind of in the same situation as Estelle, where he's kind of a mid to long range forward that kind of just gets outshadowed by a few other things right now. That's the main problem with him. I'm going to do Rune next. Rune, I think, is... I don't know. I think he needs some buffs. I think as a goalie he can be good, but like it just depends. It comes down to how you play him. If you're a really good Rune and you can actually use his abilities well, you use his portal to actually like block off certain areas of the map, or like kind of like be a bully and like goal block the enemy team's goal, preventing them to defend, and just like having them bounce the core off your Rune and your portal the entire time. And it also depends on what builds you get, because he does have some really crazy builds where like every time the core hits into your portal, like it'll have like crazy speed or have really good ability to actually get a goal. So I don't know, it just comes down to the player mainly, but like overall I think he's average. Like there's nothing crazy with him as a forward. Luna forward, I'm going to put it at a C tier. I think if you want to play Luna, I think she's way better as a goalie. I really do. As a forward, this is so much better stuff to play right now. I'm not going to talk about it very much. X, S tier. You're seeing X ban in the majority of your games, and he's pretty much the premier like bully of the game. Like if you want like a bully that just bullies the enemy team and prevents them from doing their job and makes it easier for your team to do their job, that's what you pick X for. He's banned in a lot of your games, and if he gets through, he's also really annoying to play against. So Ramos, very map dependent. I'm putting a B tier. I don't think he's that good as a forward. I really don't. He got a bit of a buff recently, but I think the only way you're going to be seeing him is if you play him on like Omi's app, which is like his best map in the game. Apart from that, you don't see him play it at all that much. And if you do, the person that's really playing him isn't really the greatest, so you're better off just playing anything else. Zentara was a forward as an A+ tier. I think he's really good. Not really like an S tier worthy, but if you know how to play him, you can put in the work, and I do think he has potential. I think that is the best way to play him right now as a forward. And last but not least, we got the last two, the newest strikers to the game. Octavia, as a forward, I think is an A+ tier. The only caveat to Octavia being a forward and her being A+ tier, though, is you need to have a build that actually works with her. You need to have something have the ability to be able to get some like the awakenings that actually give you some type of speed boost and allow you to play the game without being hit and just being able to hit the core and like make crazy plays off that pretty much. So apart from that, if you can't get a good build, I'd probably put her lower, but overall she also got nerfed recently with this most recent patch 2.2, so she's not as good, but if you know how to play her, she's still incredibly good. And once she gets a build online, she's kind of like in the same vein as like a Juliet. Like she's not really the greatest early game, but like mid to late game, like round 2, round 3, whatever, set 3, whatever, set 2, 3, like once you get a build online, she is a lot better once you start getting some awakenings. So then you got Vice, which is S tier. I don't know about you guys, but Vice is my favorite striker in the entire game, and the striker I've been playing the most in ranked. I've been finding a lot of success with her, and she just has everything you really want out of a forward right now. She is pretty much a long range. She's a medium to long range striker that also has like an ult that you can use at like close to medium range, depending on how much you charge it for. Her ult's crazy, especially if you can get to like some of the ult buffing awakenings like extra special or like empowered special. It's crazy. She builds some of the new awakenings like Catalyst really well. She can build speed awakenings really well. Like pretty much whatever you really want to build on her, she can build, and you can play that accordingly. Overall, it's really good. I think she's really solid right now. I think as a forward, I think that's her best role. You're seeing her banned in a lot of your games as well. I think she has the second highest ban rate. I think apart from like Juno and maybe Juliet in the game right now. At least in your lower to mid tiers as far as I know. So overall just really good. And she's really fun to play. So if you guys haven't played like any of the new strikers since they got released, Octavia or Vice, give them a try and play them. I know they cost 50,000 from the shop, but they're incredibly good and incredibly fun. So there you have it for your forward tier list. Now I'm going to hop over and redo this entirely for how all the strikers currently right now in the game being re-ranked for how they play as goalie. Alright, as for goalie, I'm going to actually put Ami as A tier. I think if you want to play Ami right now, you're playing her as a forward. She's a decent average goalie, but there's nothing crazy about her that would actually make her a decent goalie. Asher at A+ tier, I think she can play a pretty damn good goalie, especially with having her shield. It's on a long cooldown, but like if you really need to have something to defend, she has that ability. I just think she's a little bit better maybe as a forward in certain situations, and there's just a lot of other like goalies you'd rather have. But I do think she's A+ tier. Atlas A tier as a goalie. I think he's a way better goalie than he is as a forward. I really do. Even though his cooldowns are on crazy high like cooldown rates, I think he is a way better goalie than a forward. Jakar would not play as a goalie at all. C tier. He just doesn't have the kit and doesn't have the abilities to actually be a good goalie over like a lot of the other stuff. Dubu S tier. One of the best, easiest to play goalies in the entire game. Not really a surprise. That's kind of what Dubu is. Especially if you build him with like stagger, like increases stagger or size, or like pretty much anything you really want to run on him as a goalie. Era goalie A+ tier. Kind of the same as like a forward. It just kind of comes down to how well you can actually play her. The only thing she really that like she lacks is I think her cooldowns are a little bit too high to play as a goalie, but she can make it work if you're really good at her. Estelle Goalie, I think, is A+ tier. Really solid. I think if you want to play Estelle as a goalie, she's better than a forward right now. I think that's the one niche she has over Vice, I think. Juliet as a goalie is actually really bad. Do not play Juliet as a goalie. She is probably the worst goalie in the entire game, apart from maybe one or two other strikers right now as like a goalie. She is one of the only strikers that you actually have to play as a forward. I would not play her as a goalie at all because you're throwing. Juno Goalie, A+ tier. Problem is you just rather have a bunch of other stuff playing goalie. Like, I don't know why you would actually play Juno unless you're playing a forward. That's just really weird, especially if you get through bans. Kai Goalie, crazy. Second best goalie in the game currently right now. Just especially if you can get a build online if the game goes long. Kai is a goalie that likes the games going longer than like 15 minutes. If the games go longer than 15 minutes and he's able to build like 2 or 3 awakenings, then he just pops off and it makes it a lot easier for him. It really does. Luna, A+ tier. I think she's a way better goalie than a forward, but she does take some skill to actually play. So if you do not know what you're doing, I would not choose Luna, but she has the kit and she has everything she needs to play a really solid goalie. And I've played against and I've played with Luna goalies that just carry the game sometimes with how good they are. So I think she's way better as a goalie than a forward. Rune Goalie, B tier. Not really that good. I would not play him apart from maybe like some of the maybe specific maps, maybe like Night Market and like Demon Dice, but like I would not play him on like any other maps. X Goalie, garbage. You're throwing. Don't play X Goalie because you're pretty much playing a game that does not have a goalie. I would not touch him as a goalie. Same with Ramus. Ramus Goalie is a throw. I would not touch Ramus as a goalie right now at all. Zentaro, D tier, garbage. Would not play Zentaro as a goalie. These are the 4 legends, or not the 4 legends, the 4 strikers. I'm confused with the other games. 4 strikers right now that I would not play as a goalie. They're not meant to play as goalie, and I think there's just no reason to play them as a goalie over anything else. You're just making the game way more difficult for yourself to win, and that's not what you want in ranked. Octavia Goalie, I put it a B tier. It can work. Like I've tried it and I've made it work, but it's really difficult to make it work, and you really have to have a team that actually just carries the game for you. You don't really have much carry potential on Octavia if you're playing her as a goalie, and you kind of have to rely on having 2 really good forwards to actually make space and keep the core on the other side of the map, because if you're constantly getting bullied or if the core is always being bullied to your side of the map, it can be pretty difficult to actually play her as a goalie. And then Vice, I think Vice is A tier as a goalie. I think I do play her as a goalie a lot. Like I said, she's my most played striker, but I think as a goalie, she's not nearly as good as like a forward. I'd rather play her as a forward like a million times out of 1, like I really would. The only reason you play her as a goalie sometimes is if like you don't really want to play anything else, or at least in my case, like she's my favorite playing striker, and I don't really like playing a lot of the other strikers as goalies. And Juno's usually banned, which is my only other one that I usually like to play as goalie, so that's kind of what, at least for me, what happens. But you can play her as a goalie. She ain't bad. The only problem with her playing as a goalie is you can't really make plays off your ult that much because you're kind of forced to be on your side of the map and playing goalie over on your side. So you can't really walk up and try to make plays off your ult like you can when you're playing a forward or like trying to get kills or crazy damage on the enemy. So you don't really have as much like viability and much like play potential to carry the game or like help your team with your ult. So apart from that, that is the list for goalie. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What do you guys think of both lists? Hopefully, I think we're supposed to be getting some new strikers here. I think there's going to be a mini patch coming up in like a week or 2, and then it's supposed to be like a huge patch again. I think in mid-July, where they're going to be adding like 1 or 2 new strikers to the game. So kind of hyped for that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like I said, what do you guys think of the list? And do you guys like the video? Let me know. Well, leave your own list, and if there's something I forgot to mention, let me know. Apart from that, I'm going to get out of here. Peace out, everybody, and thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it.